Am I the a-hole for refusing to pay my parents' rent money? I turned 18 about a month ago. The day after my birthday, my parents sat me down and told me they want me to pay rent while I lived at home. I was a little confused. I have 3 older siblings, and the deal for them was that they could live at home for free while they were studying, even when they were several years older than I am. Now, I can only work weekends because of college, so I make about 500 euros a month. And after paying for tuition, health insurance, mandatory, and my phone bill, I have about 300 euros left, most of which I try to save. So I ask my parents how much they want. 100 a month? Maybe 200. But no. They want me to pay market value to rent a room, which is in the city where I live about 500 euros. Now, I think this is ridiculous for 2 reasons. 1, my parents' rent for the entire house is 600 a month. I would have understood asking for 1/3 of that, but for me to pay 84% of that alone seems excessive. And 2, none of my siblings paid rent, even if they were older or had better paying jobs. Not to mention that my parents didn't give me any warning. If I had known beforehand, I'd have looked for a room when college started. I explained that I have to make almost 800 a month just to be able to pay for everything, and even more if I want to save anything for unexpected expenses, / school books, / actually moving out, which would be really hard to do while going to college full-time and commuting back and forth. They just told me to take out some student loans. I told them I'm not okay with paying that much, and that I would look to move out as soon as possible so I wouldn't be a financial burden to them. I think I found a room, cheaper than my parents offered, and will probably move out in a week or 2 if everything goes right. But I haven't paid this month's rent. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Some people pointed out that my parents are legally obliged to help pay for my living / college expenses. I'll look into it. Now for the top comments. Not stay home. Move out, get some space, and move on with your life. I'm sorry they are treating you this way. It sounds like you're the scapegoat. I hardly get the rent thing for your kids, especially if they are in school. Then to come up with an absurd number like 84%. If mom and dad want that, they'll have to move to the smallest bedroom and get the rest of the house. Not stay home. If I was ever in the situation of having kids around the age of 18, I would charge rent. If they aren't full-time studying, but I'll put it in a savings account in secret and give it to them when they move out. Info, did they give you the reason for why you have to pay rent but your siblings didn't? Seems super unfair. They didn't, though I've never been the favorite at home. My theory is that they don't approve of the degree I want to pursue and therefore don't want to help. But I don't know. Someone else pointed out that they might have money trouble, but if they do, I'm not sympathetic. They both have high-paying jobs and go on expensive vacations often, and my dad just bought a new car. Not stay home. Sounds like your parents are way behind on rent and are looking for an easy way out, like having you pay 84% of the rent. How come a room in your city is 500, but your parents' entire apartment is only 100 more? Just curious. They can't just raise the rent much while someone is living there. My parents moved in a while ago, so they pay 600. Our neighbors pay 750. Plus, student housing is just expensive. I'm not sure why. May I ask in which country you and your family live? The Netherlands. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not letting my ex have a relationship with his child? I know the title is awful, but I'm trying to be quick and couldn't think how better to phrase it. When I was 18, I was in a relationship that was, in hindsight, full of red flags, the biggest being he was 29. We split after 4 months because he cheated and gave me an STI. Then during treatment for the STI, I found out I was pregnant. I personally am against terminating, so I wanted to keep the baby. I told him and he made it clear he didn't have to be involved. And my father, a lawyer, drafted a contract that we both signed, basically giving up his rights to the child. The whole time, he was vehemently against me having the baby and made multiple MySpace videos going on about how I shouldn't be able to keep the baby without his permission, and I was a witch, and so on. Once the contract was signed, I basically never heard from him again until this year. He found out recently that he was infertile, and now he and his wife of 10 years want to build a relationship with my son. He isn't allowed to contact my son without permission, and I have refused. My son adores my husband, and it will devastate him to find out that his real dad didn't want him. Am I the a-hole for not letting my ex have a relationship with his son? All I can think about is the hateful things he said about my son and I before my son was born. And now the only reason he's reached out is that he can't have other children. I don't think I'm the a-hole, but I feel really conflicted. Edited to add, my son is almost 15. He does know that my husband isn't his dad, and we went through therapy for it when we told him at 11. But he very much considers my husband to be his dad and our daughter to be his sister, and hasn't shown any interest in finding out about his biological father. Obviously, if he wants to know, I won't lie to him. But right now, he is happy with his family as it is, and hasn't shown any interest in hearing about my ex. Not stay home. Though, if you have not told your son that stepdad isn't his real dad, that won't end well in the long run. But speaking of your ex, wow, is that karma or what? Infertile. Probably from untreated STIs. Not stay home. You signed away his rights and your son has a good relationship with your husband. If he is infertile, he can always adopt. This, he signed away his rights. He doesn't get to say he has a child. Did he forget that he signed the papers? Not stay home. He doesn't get to decide to try and be a dad because he found out he's infertile 10 years after all the horrible crap he said. He made his bed, and now he needs to lay in it. I hope you kept the videos just in case he tries anything sneaky in the future. Edit: being a sperm donor doesn't give him the father/dad title. Not stay home. Are you able to say, if your son ever asks, you'll put him in touch? Would that work? Yeah, that's basically what I said to him. And he got angry that I wouldn't let him fly halfway across the country in a pandemic and let him meet my son right now. Seriously, when he messaged 2 weeks ago, he was talking about booking flights for the first weekend of Feb. And I was like, WTF? Yikes. Well, stick to your guns. Your boy's happy. And that's a gift you gave him. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for paying my niece $50 for the birthday cake she made for my son's birthday? My 16-year-old niece Judy is into bakery. She bakes plenty of sweets and cakes. Due to my brother and his wife's financial situation, Judy got dropped out of cooking academy. She was heartbroken over this, especially because she was on top of her class. She was determined to go back to cooking academy, so she started selling stuff she bakes online to be able to afford her classes. Her parents thought cooking academy was a distraction from school and disapproved of it though, so they started demanding she bakes for neighbors and friends for free. My son's 4th birthday was last week. I asked Judy if she could bake a cake for $50. She agreed, but my brother said no chance, and swore up and down that she will do it for free. Judy said if she keeps working for free, she'll no longer be able to afford the academy, not to mention the ingredients. I said I have no issue paying, but my brother said we're family and the cake was for free. This didn't sit right with me, so I went behind my brother and his wife's back and gave Judy the $50 before they left the party. Well, they found out and yelled at Judy for accepting the money. Then my brother called saying I shouldn't have paid her, but I said she deserves the money for her efforts. But he went on about how unacceptable it is for family to pay for favors, and said that Judy got grounded for acting so entitled. I had an argument with him and told him to stop the punishment, but he said we wouldn't be dealing with us if I didn't go behind his back and gave Judy the money in the first place. I hung up and met up with my family to discuss this, and they all agreed that I should never have sneaked my niece the money and disrespecting her parents' wishes. They told me that I don't even get to speak ill of my brother because he was just trying to be generous with me and was being a real family. I don't know. I feel I might be the a-hole for this. Am I? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. People think that just because you're family, you don't deserve to be paid for your time and effort and skill. You did the right thing. She deserved that $50. Except her parents are making the kid work for free for everyone. Opie might be able to better help by telling the niece she'll hold the money for her until she's old enough to open her own bank account. Or possibly gift the academy tuition, directly paid to the academy. I agree with this, but $50 and hold tuition is a big difference money-wise. Not an OB to pay the whole thing, but maybe she could help set up a small business for her so she can widen her clientele. Not a-hole. Wow. Not a-hole. Very much not a-hole. Your brother is calling poor Judy entitled when they expect her to spend her time, effort, skills, and probably money on ingredients, and give her goods away for free? That's entitled. They want a puppet to do their bidding and make them look good. They are abusing their daughter's passion for the sake of their own image, and then proceed to punish her when she actually shows any kind of success for it. Is there any way that you could help Judy Network to find more people to sell goods to, so she can make money for Cooking Academy? Judy needs a website and a new place to live. Not stay home. Why do people not understand that just because a family member has skill, it doesn't mean they should do stuff for free? Thank you for at least trying to help your niece and trying to pay for her time. Her parents are shocking. Not stay home. Your brother is teaching his daughter a horrible lesson. That her time and skill is not worth anything. People want to constantly preach you do for family, but there is a line between being generous and taking advantage of someone. You are completely in the right to pay your niece not only for ingredients, but also her time. Your niece is going to hopefully learn quick that you don't set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my mother she will not see her grandchild? I, 33 female, recently found out I am expecting. My husband and I are delighted, and everybody's delighted for us. This will be our first child and my mother's 64 female third grandchild, as sister 31 female has 2 kids. When we announced we were expecting, my mother decided she had to take charge, giving me names, telling me that she should take care of the babies, I wouldn't know what I was doing, etc. Now, I am very low contact with mother. I actually moved away from living in close proximity with her due to my dislike towards her. Without boring you all with detail, my upbringing was not abusive on the physical side. However, I was emotionally drained, and I had such relief the moment I moved out of her house. I won't get into the history, but my sister got everything her way. Could freeload whilst I had to be working from age 16. Pay my own way by giving up 60% of my wage. I had to get a full-time job whilst continuing my education, funding everything myself. I do not resent my sister for this, and we have a fantastic relationship. The rest of my family did not talk to my mother, with my sister the only one who remains in contact. Even then, my sister will consistently complain to me about her, to the stage now where her kids will not be with my mother unsupervised. With my mother, it is her way or no way, and will give you the silent treatment until she gets her way. Even my nephews joke about the way my mother is. The times she reaches out to me, it's when she needs money. As she is my mother, I was previously supporting her, and as it stands, she owes me £47,000 over a 5-year period. My in-laws are moving closer to us for the birth of their first grandchild, and I want them to be super involved. My mother-in-law is more of a mother to me than my own. 2 days ago, a post on Facebook came out which made me react extremely fast. A young girl at her work, care home, had passed an NVQ. My mother posted that she was extremely proud and Stacy's more of a daughter to me than my eldest. I'll admit, I saw red, and I told her until she could accept me for who I am, I will not be speaking to her again. To which she responded that I had been a disappointment all her life, and she asked if the unborn child is even my husband's, as she knows I secretly work in prostitution. I don't, but again, I am not telling her my job title nor how much money I make. I was livid and told her she would never see her grandchild or me again. She's been blowing me up, calling me an a-hole, and having her friends also contact me, claiming how cruel I am and what a horrible thing for a daughter to do. I don't think I'm the a-hole here, but I'm wondering, what do you all think? Not the a-hole, and you know it. She's a manipulative narcissist. It will never get better unless she seeks serious mental health help. No contact is the only way I can see at the moment. I was very low contact before due to her ways. It was some comments from my own friends that made me post, claiming I may be using my future child as a way to punish her. I had to trim the comments my friends made about it from the original post as it was above the character count. Your friends need to keep their opinions to themselves. They're not the ones who have to put up with this treatment. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. She herself said you're not really her daughter, so why should you consider her a mother? Excuse my language, but ditch that witch for good and live a happy life without the nasty influence of that person. Don't let your child get poisoned by her or her friends. Protect yourself and your family and stay strong. Not stay home. Your mom sounds like a trash fire, and if you do not mind unsolicited advice from a stranger and parent, it all boils down to this one question. Will this person's presence be a positive influence in my child's life? If the answer is no, what you did is not just your right, but your responsibility as a parent. Block her and her flying monkeys not just until she asks for another chance, but until she proves by her actions that she deserves one. If that is forever, she only has herself to blame. Not stay home. It's time to cut contact completely. Block her from your phone and all your social media. Do not let her inside your home if she comes by. Don't even answer the door. She's highly toxic. Inform your sister of your new rules. Congratulations on your pregnancy. Please remember that it's not good for your health or your baby's health to be overly stressed, so you'll have to work on eliminating your mom from your mind as much as you can. My mom was toxic too, and I wish you only the best. Unfortunately, blocking her isn't an option I can take. 2 years ago, my sister was diagnosed with a mental disability, which means I still need to protect her. And I don't want my mother using my sister as a point of contact and putting unnecessary pressure on my sister.
I think my girlfriend has been trying to get me fired from all my jobs. I'm shaken. Please help me. Plus updates. Original post, I'm 24 male, and I've been with girlfriend, 29 female. Let's call her Janice, for 2.5 years. I had just finished my education when we started dating, and I have been doing all sorts of jobs since. Sometimes 2 at a time. I did this to expand my resume and gather job experience. I worked in cafes, bookstores, a library, a grocery store, and as an English tutor. Most of those jobs lasted about 3 to 5 months. My shortest stay was 2.5 weeks, my longest 8 months. But since I didn't have a hard time applying for new positions, I tried to block it out, though it was kind of eating me up internally. People called to complain about me. People left bad reviews about me. People used my employee Wi-Fi access to look up sketchy things on the internet under my name. Former employees called to inform them about me, right name and all, and much more subtle stuff that I couldn't disprove. But I was too anxious to do anything about it. I just told my girlfriend. She comforted me. She supported me every time I got my life ruined by these people. But I kept going, though they kept finding me. Fast forward to this week. I currently hold a part-time position at a bakery. I've been working there for 2.5 months. It's going okay, but my manager approached me about something regarding our Google reviews. Someone was complaining about an employee, and their description of them could only really fit me. It was on a day where we were pretty short-staffed, so I could have been the only person in the store on that day for all I know. Anyway, their review contained some pretty elaborate and nasty comments about me. This has happened at 1 or 2 of my jobs already. I told my manager that it was all pretty bogus and that someone had a vendetta against me, as it has happened before. She believed me and told me that she'd dismissed the comment. On my break, I checked out the review myself. Their username was kinda stupid. I'm not gonna type it out here since I still work there, but I'll just call them McMyrtle, as it was in the same range of sounds, kind of fake but not really. Anyway, I came home but didn't tell Janice about it. She has heard it all before, so I didn't see the point in complaining about another time I almost lost my position. We chat. All is well, and she leaves the room. Her phone is on the table, and suddenly she gets a notification or an email of some sort from Google. I don't remember what it said exactly, but the pop-up read something along the lines of, McMyrtle, manager has responded to your review. My heart dropped. I've been trying to ignore it since. This was 2 days ago. It just fit the picture of bad reviews. It fit the picture of the phone complaints my workplaces have received about me in the past, It fits the picture of all the sketchy things I've been fired for. Why would she do that, though? I'm looking for an explanation. This literally can't be. She's the only thing keeping me sane. I don't know what to do. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. I'm so glad your manager believes you. Hopefully this is a time where you can find some stability and start over. I'm so sorry your partner has been sabotaging your employment in this way. Maybe it's to keep you reliant on her, or so she can always play the role of the reliable and comforting savior partner. Maybe she gets off on the control. Does she hurt you in other ways? Are there any other areas of your life she is interfering with? Are your bank accounts safe and secure? Please look up resources for leaving an abusive partner safely. This is an absolutely awful thing to happen. I'm so sorry. This is not love. You didn't deserve to be treated this way. Wishing you all the best for the future. If she's really the one messing with me, she must have my login details to my email, since she would have gotten the employee Wi-Fi access that way, so I'm certain she has access to a lot more than I might be thinking of in the moment. Probably all my social media. I don't know if she can read my messages there or not. This Reddit account is luckily not connected to any email, so I hope she won't find this. I don't know how much she knows and doesn't know about my life. I'm scared and I feel disgusted. Does your girlfriend earn more money than you? This is intense and you need to get out. This is abuse, and you'll never get anywhere with her doing this. But I do suggest you talk to her. Ask her straight out, but be prepared for the worst. She has a very stable position and a pretty good job, so yes, she does earn more money than me. Please, for the love of God, do not stay with that woman. She is sick. Who the hell does that to someone they love? Honestly, I dumped my ex-girlfriend because she was abusive toward me, and she kind of did the same thing. She literally abused me, offended my family, etc. I broke up with her. She still hasn't given up, and I'm getting stalked and have received threats, and most of them have been on the phone. One day I received an email that my email was spoofed, and she used some app. The app sent me a notification on my email that someone had used my emails to send fake emails using my email address, and told the real sender's email address, and it was my ex-girlfriend. What I would recommend is to find a way to make her dump you. Otherwise, it won't get any better. Now for the first update 22 days later. Hello people who are still invested. I'm sorry for not updating you guys earlier. A lot has been going on. First of all, yes, we broke up. That's why I'll be referring to her as my ex from now on. Anyway, let's start from the beginning. On the Monday of the following week, I couldn't take the uncertainty anymore. I told my ex I needed her booking account to book a train ticket to visit my dad for a few days. She complied, and when she was in the shower getting ready for work, I booked my ticket and started looking through her emails. After some digging, I found an email to herself which contained a spreadsheet file. I sent the file to myself, printed it out, and took a screenshot. Why? The spreadsheet contained basically every single piece of information about me there was. Numbers, emails, passwords, work times, colleagues, their numbers and social media, as well as some emails and passwords that she used for accounts to ruin my life with. Everything was on there, conveniently sorted for her to ruin my life as efficiently as possible. When she left for work, I decided it would be best to immediately pack my stuff. Nothing that mattered would be left behind. I felt like a wanted man, like I was being hunted despite nothing being seemingly out of place. I called my boss, told her I would be taking some time off from work, and headed out to see my dad. Needless to say, he was the sanity I needed. I cried about everything I saw. I panicked for a whole 2 days straight about how my life was ruined and I didn't know what to do. He had to sleep on the couch in the guest room because I was so scared of my ex coming in. He handled it like a champ. I love you, Dad. He called the police, a lawyer, and most recently a therapist for me, because I was in the most horrible state of my entire life. We're currently sorting out the legal stuff. I haven't talked to my ex, except for letting her know it was over and that she's a sick psychopath. My dad handled the rest. I changed all my passwords and I'm now looking for a place to live. Sorry for the brief update, my mind is tangled. Please ask questions if you want to know more. Edit. By the way, thank you to every single person who gave me advice, talked to me over DMs, and was generally concerned about me. I appreciate every single one of you. Bro, that's so nuts. Why are people so goddamn twisted? I am just glad you are safe. Thank God for good family. Now you can pursue the success you are entitled to through your hard work. Curious, did Miss Psycho have any sort of excuse or explanation for her diabolical behavior? She did, but I have yet to check the abundance of messages she left for me. I don't know if I ever will. I'm so proud of you. You've taken a huge step and did everything the right way. You're really on your way to putting everything behind you. It might be really hard to trust people after this. Just always remember people like her are 1 in a million. The crazy ones aren't always such experts at hiding their insanity. Take things slowly and let yourself heal. Therapy is a great start. You'll get past this and God willing, trust will come easily again. Good luck. Now for the final update 2 years later. And some of y'all came here quite recently. I've answered all of the DMs so far, and before I let the next batch of people wait, you'd think there wouldn't be after 2 years. I'll give you a quick update. TLDR, we ended up not taking her to court over it. This is quite controversial, considering the abhorrent thing she did to me, but I do not regret this decision. The satisfaction of seeing her punished would have been overshadowed by the sheer amount of dread, anxiety, and fear I would have faced in those court hearings. I was a nervous mess. I couldn't eat for weeks without throwing up. My dad had to settle most of the important stuff because I physically couldn't. Thank you, Dad. On the bright side, our lawyers settled the situation beautifully in private, and I haven't had any problems with her since that I am aware of. I've moved houses, got a stable job, and found the closure and justice I was looking for through therapy. I hope she did as well. We've had zero contact since then, and I still haven't read any of the messages she sent me those years ago. Of course, I'm nowhere near done with my journey. I still have all of my social media accounts set to private and insist on keeping a low profile online. I still get anxiety, especially when there are problems at work. But I haven't had any panic attacks in months, and my therapist has been great. I don't know how she's doing. I don't know if she's moved on, or if she's seen this story float around the web. Hello YouTube, TikTok, and Snapchat. I don't know how much she knows about how my life is currently going, but nothing's happened since then that I could attribute to her schemes. Sorry if this update is kind of a jumbled mess. I just woke up and I've repressed a lot of what happened. Thank you all for your kind messages. Cheers. Very correct move to just take his stuff and leave. I'm all about communication regarding relationship problems, but I'm thinking a confrontation here could have gone very wrong. Yeah, you confront about a wrong when you don't think your safety is at stake. But this woman was creeping into Annie Wilkes territory. Don't confront someone if your safety is at stake, but also, in general, don't confront someone if they've done something heinous and there's nothing to be gained from it. And there wasn't. There was nothing she could say that would have made it okay, nothing that could make it forgivable, nothing that would have given OP catharsis and closure, and nothing she would learn from it to grow as a person. Sometimes you just have to know when there's no point in the conversation, and it's better to leave a note and cut and run. The heck was she thinking? What was her explanation? I need closure here. It's not uncommon for abusers to do things like this. The point is to make him reliant on her, lower his self-esteem, and isolate him from others. All of these have a common underlying goal, to make it so he doesn't feel like he can leave her. There was an episode of This American Life about a woman who kept having her identity stolen and her bank accounts drained over several years. Her only support was her boyfriend, who paid for everything, comforted her, and said he could take care of them both. Turned out, he had been the one stealing from her the whole time and using the money to pay all their expenses, but to look like he earned it and saved her. Next story. I 40 female, own my home, and 36 male moved in with me. He thinks he doesn't have to pay rent since I paid for everything before he moved in anyway. Am I being unfair by insisting he gets a job and pay rent despite him feeling mentally ready for a job? Original post, he contributes somewhat to groceries, but he eats way more than me. I say he adds to electric, water, wear and tear, and he feels it's so minimal it shouldn't even matter. He doesn't have a job either. He's stressed and trying to get to a better place before job hunting. I agreed to support him for a few months. Yes, it was a legit reason to not work. But those few months have been well over a year, and my patience and niceness have worn off. He feels his helping around the house should be enough. He feels it is okay to lay in bed until 11 when I start work at 7:30 a.m. He also gets upset and says I'm controlling when I suggest him getting up at 8 a.m. to do a set amount of hours of house cleaning and house projects. He's super handy. When I bring it up, he either gets defensive and a fight ensues, or he says things to play the victim. I sure wish I had the ability to have a good job like you. I tell him you do. You need to work for it. Or, I feel so unappreciated for all the hard work I do around here. You don't understand how much I do and it's hurtful. He does what a normal person who pays rent and works should. I told him during an argument that he does barely over the minimum standard of what is expected for a grown adult that works 40 hours a week. We have discussed household work expectations, and when I try to enforce it, he finds a way to blame it on something other than laziness. He cannot hold himself accountable. I feel that this is complete manipulation, gaslighting BS. He has never lived independently, always with a girlfriend or roommate. I bring this up to other people, and everyone tells me that he probably just feels ashamed. Or, I bet he's just depressed, and that is why he is making excuses. I say that he could get a job, not lay in bed so long, not watch movies when I tell him I need help cleaning and grow up. I say I feel he's gaslighting and being a manipulator, and I get told I'm being dramatic. So Reddit, is there something I'm missing? Could he possibly actually feel that me having him pay rent via money or labor is bad? Or is it all just gaslighting and me being dramatic? P.S. We discussed this in couples therapy 6 months ago, and it went nowhere other than him wanting to quit therapy. I am adding the fact that when we first started dating, he did have a job. It was a seasonal job, and it was assumed he would go back. Then things happened, and he didn't go back. He was taking some time off. He did very minimal side jobs for cash here and there, 1 or 2 a month, to pay for food and gas. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Your boyfriend is a lazy, entitled individual who finds people to take care of him so he doesn't have to grow up and take care of himself. You're his latest caretaker. That's what you're missing. Is that all you want to be? This man's mommy? There is a certain percentage of the population that doesn't work. This guy is in that group. We have one in our family, and at age 54, he's now either going to have to become a hobosexual like you've got, or find a job. Will be interesting to see which way they go. You allowed a lazy, unemployed, disrespectful mooch to move in with you. What did you expect? That he'd suddenly turn into a decent, considerate partner who pulls his own weight? I don't mean to be unkind, but you surely can't be surprised by this. Yeah, like, how are you 40 and still acting like you need to confirm if this is acceptable or not? Come on now. There's no doubt that his time having me be supportive is over. I do not plan to have him living here rent-free much longer. I am wondering if a person can truly think the way that he says he does. The way in which he justifies his actions is crazy to me. I am also shocked that some of our friends agree with him. I always try to see things from someone else's perspective and be empathetic, which gets me into these being a doormat issues, but I cannot in this case. I do not see how a person could possibly feel that it is okay to live rent-free. I don't think I would ask this question on here if my friends didn't take his side. Yeah, he might feel ashamed, be depressed, but you know what? When I'm ashamed about something, I do whatever it takes to remedy it. Now for the update. So I realized that unintentional gaslighting can be a thing, but either way, it's still manipulation. I was just trying to figure out if he was purposely or accidentally being the douchebag hobosexual he was claiming to be. A narcissistic turd, or just an inept man-child. By the way, never heard the word hobosexual before this, and I love it. And for everyone saying that I am ridiculous for allowing this for so long, yes, I have been. But it hasn't been an issue until recently because he was very helpful with getting man stuff done around my house. I don't pay any of his bills. He just doesn't pay any of mine. My friends, WTF. Thank you, Redditors, for the overwhelming validation that they are toxic. Last night I said, hey, by the way, I'm gonna have you pay the electric bill from now on, or you will live like an Amish person, and you'll need a job because you will start paying more each month, or I will start bringing stuff to your mom's house. Thanks, love ya. He grumbled a little, but didn't argue,